Imagine watching your favorite action movie. The hero is talking on a walkie-talkie, bullets are flying, and the commander gives a strict order. What does the hero reply? Roger that. Or think of an astronaut calling mission control. Roger, Houston. It's a phrase we've heard 1,000 times. But have you ever stopped to wonder, who exactly is Roger? Why do we use a random guy's name to say, I understand? Why not just say, understood? Today, we are tuning our frequencies back in time to uncover the surprisingly simple yet fascinating history of the phrase, Roger that, right here on Simple Things Surprising Histories. Our story starts not with a person, but with a piece of technology. Before voice radios were invented, military communication relied heavily on the telegraph and Morse code. It was a simple system of dots and dashes. Back then, if a telegraph operator successfully received a message, they didn't tap out a long, complicated sentence. They simply tapped out the letter R. In the telegraph world, R stood for received. It was quick, efficient, and everyone knew what it meant. But as we moved into the 1930s and 40s, voice radio began to replace Morse code. Suddenly, pilots and soldiers were actually speaking to each other across vast distances. There was just one massive problem. Early voice radios were terrible. They were filled with crackles, static, and heavy interference. Over a loud, noisy channel, simply saying the letter R to mean received was incredibly dangerous. It was too short. R sounded like R, tar, or far. It easily got lost in the static. To solve this static problem, the military used what's called a phonetic alphabet. This is a system that replaces a single letter with a full, distinct word, making it much harder to misunderstand. You probably know the modern version of it today: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. During World War II, in 1941, the United States military standardized the Joint Army-Navy phonetic alphabet. So, what about our crucial letter R? The letter R, which, remember, stood for received, was officially assigned the word Roger. That's right, Roger wasn't a brave general, a famous inventor, or a legendary radio operator. Roger was quite literally just the phonetic word assigned to the letter R. When a pilot heard an order, instead of saying received, which could easily be muffled by engine noise, they said, Roger. It loudly and clearly told the sender, I have received your message. Over time, it naturally evolved into the phrase, Roger that, meaning, I have received that. Now here's where the history gets a little bit of a twist. In 1956, the NATO phonetic alphabet was officially updated to the one we use today globally. The phonetic word for the letter R was changed from Roger to Romeo. So technically, from 1956 onward, pilots and soldiers should have started saying Romeo that. But they didn't. By the 1950s, millions of soldiers had returned home from World War II. They had used Roger so much that it was permanently etched into their vocabulary. It spilled over into civilian life, police radios, aviation, and eventually Hollywood movies and the Apollo moon landings. And as a quick bonus fact, Roger just means I heard you. If a soldier wanted to say, I heard you and I will do it, the military created a second phrase, Wilco, which is simply short for will comply, hence the famous phrase, Roger Wilco. So, the next time you casually say Roger that to a friend or a coworker, remember you aren't talking to a guy named Roger. You're echoing a 1940s World War II radio code, specifically designed to cut through the static of history. It's funny how language works, isn't it? If you enjoyed this dive into the everyday, drop a Roger that in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Simple Things, Surprising Histories. Until next time, stay curious.